Hi students, how are you all? I hope you are all fine, safe, take care of your health. Today in this video, we are going to discuss first chapter in your civics textbook, that is power sharing. Dear students, last year you all have studied so many topics related to democracy in your civics textbook, isn't it? In that one very important point that you all had studied was how power usually will get shared among different organs of the government, that is legislature, executive and judiciary. Today, in this chapter, let us move forward with more broader explanation related to the topic. Let us start the lesson with two interesting stories from two nations, that is Belgium and Sri Lanka, so that it helps you in understanding some of the main topics related to this chapter, that is how democracies handle demands for power sharing, why there is a need for power sharing, and what are all the different forms of power sharing. Okay students, let us start with the story of Belgium. Belgium is a very small nation. It is smaller in area than the state of Haryana. It shares its boundary with countries like France, Germany, Luxembourg. And the population of Belgium is hardly over 1 crore, that is around half of the population of state of Haryana. Dear students, have you ever studied about the ethnic composition of such a small country? See, it is very complex. See, out of total population, 59% of the people are in Flemish region and speaks Dutch. And around 40% of the people are in Wallonia region and they speak French. And there are also Germans who speak around 1%. And you have also capital Brussels, and in Brussels there are French who are in 80% and there are Dutch who are 20%. That is, if you take entire Belgium, Dutch are in majority. If you take Brussels alone, French are in majority. Now let us look at the another important country, that is Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is an island nation, and Sri Lanka is hardly few kilometers from the southern coast of Tamil Nadu. And Sri Lanka also has around about 2 crore population, that is almost equal to the population of Haryana. Students, even in Sri Lanka, the ethnic composition is very complex. Just look at there. There are about 74% of the people, that is out in the total population, who speak Sinhala language. And they all follow Buddhist religion. There are about 18% Tamil speakers who are either Hindus or Muslims. And mostly they are in northeastern part of the Sri Lanka. And in Tamil speakers, there are two categories. One is Sri Lankan Tamils, who are in 13%, and Indian Tamils, who are about 5%. Indian Tamils are those whose forefathers have come from India during colonial period as plantation workers. Okay. You also have Christians who speak both Tamil and Sinhala and who are in about 7%. Okay, now you have seen such a complex ethnic composition of the two countries. You just imagine if in Belgium, the Dutch people who are in majority, if dominated French, what would have happened? Similarly, in Sri Lanka, Sinhala speakers who are in majority, if they would have dominated Tamils, what would have happened? Let us look at the next part. See, in Belgium, it began to face problem in 1950s and 1960s. The minority French were relatively rich and powerful, and this made the majority Dutch to oppose the French, because the French people began to take all the benefits of economic development and education, and the Dutch remained backward. Gradually, this increased tension between two communities. It became more serious in 1950s and 60s. Now, the interesting thing is how Belgium handled this situation. Belgium followed the policy of accommodation. What do you mean by policy of accommodation? Accommodation means it treated all the people equally and accommodated all and gave equal rights to all the communities. In other words, opportunities were created for all the communities in such a way that no community was sidelined. See, Belgium amended the constitution for 4 times between 1970 and 1993 in order to give equal opportunities to all the social groups. What all the major changes that Belgium brought in its constitution? See, firstly, constitution says equal ministers should be there in the central government. That is, though Dutch were in majority and French were in minority in Belgium, equal ministers will be there in central government. Many powers of the central government were given to regional governments, that is, regional governments of Wallonia and Flemish region. And it was also made clear that regional governments are not subordinate to central government as far as these powers are concerned. And Brussels came to have separate government, where both communities again will have equal representation. And this was accepted by the French because Dutch had accepted it in the central government. And again, separate community government was created for each language community. The community government will have the power of protecting the interest, especially related to cultural and language related issues of each language community. So this community government is a unique government that was created in Belgium. Okay. And because of this policy of accommodation, Belgium could able to achieve stability, peace, order, and even Belgium model became one of the best model in European countries. And when European countries joined together to form what is called European Union, Brussels, that is the capital of Belgium, was made as its headquarters. Now let us look at Sri Lanka. See, unlike Belgium, Sri Lanka followed what is called policy of majoritarianism. The very word itself indicates majoritarianism means majority dominating minority or sidelining the rights, interest of the minority and giving priority or importance to majority. This policy, we call it as policy of majoritarianism. So how it happened? See, look at there. The government of Sri Lanka continuously passed so many orders and introduced so many changes. Firstly, Act of 1956, which recognized Sinhala as official language. It favored Sinhala applicants for all the government jobs and university positions. Constitution also stipulated that state shall protect Buddhism, that is the religion of Sinhalas. And what is the result? Because of these majoritarian measures, it increased the feeling of alienation among Tamils. The Tamils began to feel that the leaders of Sinhala community, the leaders of the government, are not so sensitive towards their culture, towards their language. They began to feel that their language, culture, interest has been disregarded. And they started the struggle. And even they started demanding some of the very important things. That is, they demanded that Tamil should be the official language. Autonomy should be given to Tamil provinces. That means especially northeastern part of Sri Lanka where Tamils were in majority. Then opportunities also should be created in both education and jobs, that is government jobs. And even they started demanding what is called independent Tamil Eelam, that is separate region for Tamils. And these all developments led to conflicts, led to revolts, and finally it turned into what is called civil war. Civil war means the war or conflicts that usually take place for any cause between two communities within the country. So here, Sri Lanka, because of all these majoritarian measures, faced the problem of civil war. Okay, students, now you all have studied the two important stories, that is stories of Belgium and Sri Lanka. And you also have understood why power should be shared and what happens if power is not shared. Okay, now can you answer the question or can you find the answer for this question? Why power sharing is desirable? Why power should be shared in democracy? Okay, it's very simple. One is power has to be shared because it helps to reduce the possibility of conflict, isn't it? If you would have shared in Sri Lanka, there wouldn't have been any such conflicts, isn't it? And best example is Belgium. Or of course, we can give the example of India also. See, if power is not shared, it leads to conflicts. Conflict leads to violence, instability. In the long run, problem is not only will be there for majority, but also for minority. Secondly, power sharing is desirable because it is the very spirit of democracy. Means the spirit of democracy lies in power sharing. If there is no power sharing, then there is no meaning for democracy, isn't it? So first reason, we usually call it as prudential reason. It is prudential because it emphasizes better outcome. That is, if power is shared, then there will not be any conflicts and violence. There will be stability. The second reason is the moral reason, because it emphasizes the value of democracy. It talks about the real value, the real spirit that is there behind democracy. Okay, so that's why power should be shared. Okay, students, now you all know that in democracy, power do get shared in various ways. If you take the countries of the world, we can see in different ways powers has been shared. Let us now move on to the forms of power sharing. That is, what are all the different forms in which power has got shared. See, firstly and generally, we find power that is shared among different organs of the government. What are all the different organs of the government? The three organs are executive, legislature, and judiciary. And you all know, in democracy, among three organs, the power has been shared in such a way that all organs will be placed in the same level. And that's why this kind of power sharing is called horizontal distribution of power. That is, both executive, legislature, and judiciary have equal power, and no organ will be having unlimited power. And moreover, one organ will check the powers of another organ. That is why this system is also called system of checks and balances. For example, the government is always accountable to legislature. That is, executive is always accountable to parliament. And judges are appointed by the executive. But once after appointment, judges have full independent power to check the powers of executive as well as legislature. So this is how you can see one organ checking the power of another, and which results in balance of power. So that's why this system is called system of checks and balances, or horizontal distribution of power. Okay, second important way how power usually will get shared is among different government levels. That is, what are the different levels of government? If you take India, we have central government for the entire nation, state government for states, and also local governments at local level. That is, panchayats, municipalities, corporations, isn't it? See, power also will get shared among these different levels of government. And this type of power sharing is called vertical or federal distribution of power, because one level of government will be placed under the another, and power will be clearly distributed in the constitution itself between different levels of government. For example, in India, central government is there at the top, and below that there are state governments, and in the bottom level we have local self-governments. So that's why this type of power distribution is called vertical distribution of power. and each level will have its own power for which it need not necessary to depend on another level of government. Okay, the third important form of power sharing is among different social groups. That is, among religious group, linguistic groups. See here, one very important example that you can quote is reservations that has been created for women, weaker sections in India. This is one way how power is get shared among the social groups. Because of giving reservation, they get opportunity to participate in all the democratic activities. And you can, another best example is community government of Belgium. You all know it was created mainly to protect the cultural, educational interest of each language community. So because of this, these language communities got the chance to participate in all democratic activities. Similarly, reserved constituencies that we have in India. Last year you all have studied. What do you mean by reserved constituency? Reserved constituencies are those which have been created for especially weaker sections like scheduled caste and scheduled tribes in India. And this is one way how opportunities have been created for those social groups. So that is one way of power sharing. Giving opportunities for the social groups means sharing of power among them. Okay. The fourth important way how power has been shared is among political parties, pressure groups, and movements. See, in democracy, you all know political parties are there, and they compete and try to get the power. And the very competition itself is an example for how power usually shifts from one political party to another. So political parties will form alliance and contest election, and after election, if they get chance to form the government, they will form coalition government. So this is the one best example for power sharing among political parties. We also have pressure groups. Pressure groups or interest groups are nothing but those which work for the interest of respective social group, and they bring pressure on the government and will try to get their work done. We have, for example, farmers organization, workers association, teachers association, students organization, so on. And all these groups have the freedom to form such organizations, and they also have the opportunity to participate in any kind of movements, and they can bring pressure on the government and they can fulfill their interest. So this is another best example for power sharing in democracy. We have also many movements, social movements for different causes, and government do give a solution depending on the necessity. So this is the best example for power sharing among political parties and pressure groups. See, after having discussed all these topics, now I request you all to answer some of the questions. You can use the textbook, or you can write it by using the points that I have given in this video, and please write it and send it to me. See, firstly, mention the difference between policy of accommodation and majoritarianism. What is community government? Name the countries that have shared their borders with Belgium. What is civil war? Give the moral and prudential reason for power sharing. And what do you mean by system of checks and balances in democracy? Okay, students, you can answer these questions and you can send it to me, and we will continue next lesson in my next video. Thank you.